Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kev Play. This is Kevin, and we're on episode 48 of The Last of Us Part 2. Last time we came into some hairy trouble. We were catching up with Lev, who was running off to see or their mother, and we were, Abby and Yara were trying to catch up, and we go through all these Seraphites. There's an invasion happening with the WLF that Isaac is leading. So we're kind of in the mix of all this, but we catch up to Lev, and we find that he's or they've killed the mom because the mom didn't accept Lev as trans, and it just went south. And Yara did say few episodes back that if their mom found out what Lev's well how Lev's living, or this transition, that she would strangle him. So maybe that's what happened. I imagine. I mean, obviously, a scuff they came to it came to violence, and Lev had no choice but to defend themselves. So then, as we're getting him out, and it's, by the way, beautiful performance. The aftermath of that, like it, very, filled with shock and trauma, and just very well done. But as we're leaving, we actually we get caught by Isaac's men from the WLF, and Abby is trying to put her, trying to advocate for Lev and Yara's survival, and unfortunately, Isaac, who shows up, was not hearing it. All he sees, and it's very reflective of how we see how a lot of people choose to see things in black and white. The enemy versus the people who you are. Like everyone pits each other against each other. No, there's no empathy, no sympathy, no sense of we're all human beings at the end of the day. Abby's saying they're just kids, and Isaac's still blinded, and we don't know what he's been through, we don't know his experiences, but whatever they are, they led him to raise the gun and try to, even with Abby standing in between them, he was ready to kill. And then Yara steps in and kills him. And then as soon as she makes that choice, which is a gut reaction out of love, she's eliminated, just riddled with bullets. I totally forgot that happens in this game. It's really shocking and brutal, and it's rough. And now Lev is basically kind of, the poor kid has to carry this going forward. And Lev says, your guys shot, your people killed her or whatever, and then Abby says, you're my people. I love the emphasis on you're my people. It's about it's not a sports team. It's, if someone comes into your orbit and you feel compelled to protect them, or to to love them, they're your people. But it's interesting what love and hate does in a world like this, whether that's to protect or to cause harm. It's crazy. Hey, Papa Pig, welcome back. How are you doing? Just collecting some stuff. This week I've just been playing some every night I've been playing Helldivers 2. Just a fun little. It's just a fun game to play for like an hour. I'll play like 3 little missions, just to like, because there's still so much things to collect in that game too. Like you're still building your ship and stuff. It's fun, and it's just fun chaos to be had. But that's I'm not like. I mean, I will tell you this. I did order a game that should be here Friday. I ordered it on eBay. It should be a small game to get me through January. Just it's a game I've never played, and it's a game I'm surprised I haven't had it at this point. At this point in my life, I mean, I'll reveal it because I'm still waiting for it. But I'll just say because I'm sure by the next episode I'll have played a good chunk of it, and I'll tell you what my opinions are. But I'll give you a really good hint, I think, and I feel like if I say this hint as vague as it might be, I think you'll get it because I feel like this is a lot of. This is the game that a lot of people don't have out of the collection of games. It's the only Naughty Dog game I don't have and have never played. I'll give you one guess, and I think you can get it. It's the one Naughty Dog game I have never played. And I'm talking about the console games, like the, starting from 1996 and onwards, not the pre Crash Bandicoot games.
See a way out of here? Maybe we can get out through there.
There you go. Jak X. It's for good reason. It's not because the game isn't good, but it's rare to come by. You have to be careful with the PS2 version because it can corrupt your save. So that's why a lot of people actually avoid getting the game. I don't know if you know that, but if there's some autosave glitch on the PS2 version that you got to be careful of, where it will just keep saving over and over until the memory corrupts. I played a bit of the game before. You said okay. I've never played it. Also, it's one of those games. I mean, I came to Jak and Daxter late. I got the Jak and Daxter like collection back when it came out, on the PS3, and after I completed that, I was obviously very I was very exhausted having played all 3 Jaks back to back to back. But another thing is like Jak X Combat Racing. I know it's not obviously it's not. I don't expect it to be Crash Team Racing in terms of like how incredible Crash Team Racing is for like the kart genre. I know Jak X takes after Burnout, the Burnout games more. But I don't know. I feel like I just like one of the reasons I always kind of avoided it is because I was like, you know what? I don't really. Racing games are very hard to satisfy me with, but now that I have some time, I'm like, let me try it out. I know it's a good game. I don't know how much I will be falling in love with it, but I'm definitely eager to check it out. I have it on the PS5 digital. That shouldn't be an issue for me. See, for you, yes. For a physical collector, not so much. I ordered, and I don't... Whoop. Oh, they think I betrayed them. Hold on. I think let. Hold on. Under fire here.
Fuck!
Am I gonna be swarmed with enemies right now? Is that what's happening? Let me get through this action sequence first, I'll continue that thought. Well, I'll say here, just for a second, what was I saying? Yeah, so I ordered the physical edition for PS4, which is through the limited run series, like, production people or whatever. I don't usually like to go through a limited run. I think they have some problems with their manufacturing and stuff, but I'd rather have a clean copy of Jak X that's not going to corrupt my save. That's one. And it is good to have it on PS4. Yeah, no, limited run I'm not a fan of, but if I'm gonna make one limited run purchase, I feel like I have to do it for Jak X at least. I'm not, but yeah, I know limited run is a problematic. It's a problematic company. But you know what? The PS2 version, the original version, is already bugged as it is. Ooh. So I know it's not like, you know, if it's just the PS2 version that I'm getting in a PS4.
The fuck are they?
In a PS2, in a PS4 case, then whatever, that's fine. I like how they have, like, ankle-deep water that I can swim in. Or rather, maybe knee-deep water. I feel like they could see me still if I'm not too careful. If I'm... You said, to be fair, I bought Persona from Limited Run. It's my first and last purchase from them. So what is like the negative criticism that you have from them for that game?
No one in this area. Seen them yet? How'd they get away?
Well, it's just I don't like limited run, but I really wanted a physical copy of Persona 4 to complete my collection. Yeah. I've heard bad things about them. Like, there's one thing, like, I was listening on a podcast where this girl who used to work there, named Cara Lynn, she got fired because they didn't like her views on Twitter. That she posted something about, like, being, like, I don't know, some stance on abortion or something, and they didn't like it, so they fired her for her having, you know, having a political opinion on something. And I remember that being, I remember listening to that podcast where she was, like, interviewed about that, and it just seemed very, you know, it seemed very shady that the company would just, like, sandbag someone for sharing their political beliefs or whatever. Regardless of whether you agree with them or not, it just seems... That just seems strange, but that's all I really know. I mean, I definitely have heard criticisms from, like, reviews that people say they get, like, kind of, I don't know, like, the physical editions they get aren't that great or whatever, but I just want to play this game already. It's the one Naughty Dog game I just have never played, and I'm just dying to play it already. But it's like, I would get the PS2 original version if I could, but it's buggy, and if it's gonna corrupt my memory card, then not worth it. So I'll take crappy limited run over that. I think. Forgot that I had my listen mode. I didn't use my thing. Let's see. Momentum duration. Momentum lasts longer. Craft more hunting pistol ammo. Improved melee weapon upgrades. I kind of like the momentum one.
Nothing over here.
Should get.
That might have been them. Let's check it out.
Go. I'll watch your back.
Fuck. Last of Us Season 2 is on the way. Yes, it's going to be in April. I saw that new trailer. Looks pretty sick. I'm really digging Caitlin Dever as Abby. It looks like she's going to do a great
They're not
job.
here. Find where they're hiding.
Lev, you're in my way.
Anybody find them?
Anybody?
Anyone got a fucking visual on them?
Don't you think we would have said so?
Anyone.
Where's this guy going?
Down there.
I thought I had a silencer. Oh, don't reload on me.
Stay back.
Okay.
Go. Fucking dead.
Once I get through this action part, I'm going to we'll get into our top 5 for the 90s that are left for the 90s desert island top 10 that we were doing. Come on, where's this person? Okay. Next episode, are we gonna do 2000 games? Yes. Well, if we get through the 5, because I know sometimes it can run long, but I think we should be able to get through them. We'll see. I just want to be able to look down at my list before I start rattling them off. And your list, just to recap. But I at least want to get through this action part first.
You better start running.
Alright, here we go, here we go, here we go. Think we're good for now?
Lev, You still with me?
Yeah.
Let's get to the exit.
Okay, so before we continue, let's just recap here. The first 5 that we did for each. My top 10 is Twisted Metal 3. Number 9 is Mega Man Legends. Number 8 is Frogger. Number 7 is Pokemon Yellow. And number 6 is Metal Gear Solid. Your first 5. Your number 10 is Super Mario 64. Number 9, Taken 3. Number 8, Super Smash Bros. 64. Number 7, Donkey Kong Country 64. And number 6 is Einhander. So I'll start off for my number 5, and it's going to be kind of a repeat of what you actually already put. And so I'll be brief. It's Super Smash Bros. 64. One thing I didn't mention last time is I did complete the single player of this game where you kind of have to go through the stages in order to unlock the characters. I have beaten that in the past, so it's not just a game that I love for the multiplayer. I have played the game to completion, at least. So yeah, Smash Bros. 64 is my number 5. What really is one of the first games I think of when I think of the 90s. For me, in terms of like my childhood and everything. You know, I already mentioned I would play as Pikachu. Kirby would be like a close second. I know you said Kirby's your main usually. A lot of cool characters. I don't think we talked about our favorite stages last time though. Mine. I like Saffron City. I like the Yoshi level.
Hold on a sec.
And the Kirby level. I like the Hyrule Castle. That's like Link's level. That's one of my favorites. I also like the Donkey Kong Country level too. That's a good one. What was that? But yeah, that's fine. I don't know if you have anything left to say about that, but if not, then you can go into your number 5. That Pokemon stage, the Kirby stage, and Hyrule Castle stage for me. Yeah, exactly. And one thing else I will say, I always, being a big Pokemon fan at the time also, I really loved how, because nowadays when I play with friends, we don't play with items, but I really loved playing with the Pokeballs in Smash, and kind of having that thrill of like not knowing what random Pokemon's going to come out, and wanting to see every type of Pokemon that can come out. That was always fun. I remember we would like turn on like all Pokeballs, or you know, and stuff like that. A lot of the weapons are cool too. Like the most overkill weapon is the big sledgehammer thing. And yeah, and it was always fun to plant mines too, like plant mines like on the edge, whenever you play with items on. But most of the time now though, we usually play without items because we just want it to be us versus the like more skill based, of what our the character we're playing it as can do against the other player. But yeah, that's my number 5. Yeah, you can go to your number 5 since we already went into more of it when you listed Smash last time. I think I have something. No, I don't. For your number 5, Super Mario World. Okay, Super Mario World. That's the Game Boy, right? I think like not even Game Boy Color, but like on the original Game Boy. That's a good one too, though. I did used to play that. Am I thinking the right one? Yeah, for SNES. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I play like I'm not like I'm not like an expert on which like side-scrolling Mario's I've played, but like the original Super Mario World, yeah, I played that. I don't know if I've played like the second one or whatever it was, but yeah, the original one I used to have it on Game Boy also. You're talking about Super Mario Land. Am I? Um, the side-scrolling one's is Super Mario Land, so World is a 3D one, or is it a side-scroller? Because I played the one where you're getting to the end of the stage, going from left to right. Um, and the objective is to rescue Peach. By the end of it, side scroll. Okay, so yeah, I think I have like I'd have to confirm it, but I think I'm pretty sure I played the World. I'm just not very. I'm not like a good expert on all the Mario games when it comes to those earlier games. I know. Well, Super Mario Brothers. That's what I've played. It's the one with Yoshi. Oh, World is with Yoshi. Okay, so that one I don't think I've ever played that one. Where you basically ride him, right?
Cover me.
Yeah.
I got it. Go.
Abby, you killed those wolves.
Doesn't matter. We're getting off this island. Which way?
There's a radio station up ahead. We're gonna cut through.
I think this is the best classic 2D Mario game with
go.
Yoshi. Okay. Again, I wish I can check these games out. Can you play these games on a Wii? Because I have the Wii. Like, do they have like old games you can play on the Wii? Like, is there like a package you can get or something? Because I know Nintendo's really good about being backwards compatible and stuff. The Wii Shop channel shut down. Yeah, unfortunately. So there's no physical, right? No like collection, like Super Mario collection that we can that's available. That'd be a great game to play on Desert Island, though. I would love to get lost in those games. Oh, I don't believe so. Yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, that's cool. Maybe I can always just pick up a Game Boy though for myself, or maybe a Nintendo. Would Nintendo Switch? If I got a Nintendo Switch, would it have? I'm guessing that eShop's still available, right? And you can get pretty much anything from there, I think. It's a whole library of games that I'm just completely cut off to. It's kind of a shame. I hate to admit it. Definitely, but you need Nintendo Switch Online, okay. Once you download it, though, do you need the online anymore, or is it just like you need the online to access the shop? You need online to access the game. Yeah, that's weird. So that's a good number 5 for yourself. Ooh, nice. We need this. I feel like I've collected a lot of bolts since the last tool bench. All right, so for my number 4, I'm going to say, let me just make sure it's my number four, because once we get to like the top five, it's like it's really hard to choose one over the other. But I did establish that this would be this. Let's see. Yeah, my number four. Okay. Yeah, it's that's your number five. That's yeah, good, great pick. You know, honestly, that's something I wish I like. It would be like an honorable mention for me because I would love to. Uh, I would love to sit down with those games and take my time with it and just like get through it. Um, but yeah, so my number four uh would be, and it took me I had to think about this. It would be Crash Bandicoot Warped. If I'm choosing the platforming games, uh, Warped is now the thing is I think two you get more bang for your buck with the platforming in terms of being a quality game plus the platforming. I've never, even though Warped has the vehicle levels and like a lot of them, I like the vehicle levels. Um, I there's no vehicle level where I'm like, oh man, I have to do this one. This sucks. Like I enjoy the vehicle levels for what they are, and I think there's a lot of fun to be had with them with each one. Another reason I chose Warped over say two is the time trials. If I'm going to be on a desert island and there's a system where I can beat my latest time or go for like the best time and have it recorded, then Crash Warped is the way to go, I think. Um, this was a game where I remember when I got Crash 2. I think I got Crash 2 like late into into 1997 because I remember Crash Warped was like right around the corner. And I remember people started getting it before me, and I didn't even know there was a Crash Warped. Like you have to remember, there really was like the internet wasn't really a thing yet in terms of like it was there, but like as a kid, I wasn't like on it to be like, oh, let's look up games that are coming out. You didn't know. Like you found out about games either in the circular that you would get in the newspaper. Um, or you would find out through your friends that there's a game called Crash Warped. I remember getting this game. I remember there was like a grass is greener on the other side. Seeing other friends playing this game, I remember the one thing I remember that was so alluring to me was that the warp room is a single space that you can get to every single level within one single space. Whereas like Crash 2, you were going through the platform elevator where once you're in that warp room, you only have so much little space to run around in. I love Crash Warped being like the little bubbles on the floor to press the buttons on the floor to press, and then you jump in, and then you can just like hang out in the middle of the warp room, where Coco is, and like practice your death tornado spin or your jumps and stuff. Like you had a lot of room to run around. That was always fun. I This is a game my uncle took me to Toys R Us for my birthday when I was 8, I think 8 or 9. And he said you can get anything you want. And I said I want I picked Crash Warped. And back then it was, I remember the price. It was $80. $80 for Crash Warped at retail. Which, a lot of people complain today about $70 games for PS5, and you think of like the graphics today and how many hours you're getting out of the game, how much like AAA quality, how much money is being put into like the budget that's being put into games now. Crash Warped is a game you can beat in like 10 hours, even shorter if you know what you're doing. Yes, there's replayability with the time trials, but that game took like a year to make. It's it puts into perspective that money, money, like games were expensive even back then. And I did get the holographic cover though, so I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with it, but I don't think so. I think it was like a regular retail copy. Uh, but yeah, that was my $80. Yeah, for Crash Warped. And I got Crash Warped late, so like you know how like the price usually they cut the price down a bit after it's been out a while. It was still $80. And that was for like a PS1 disc game. I think cartridge games for like N64 were just as pricey, and now we know nowadays they're even pricier if you want to get a physical copy. But yeah, it was crazy back then, and I just enjoyed that game so much. I had so much fun. It really feels the Warp Room music feels very reminiscent of the '90s sound. Like whenever I think of like '90s music, other than like the alternative rock and grunge, there was the whole like uh boy band pop era. You know, like you think of like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. I feel like the Warp Room and Crash Warped has this, and I was never really a fan of these bands, by the way. But like you know, I had a sister who would listen to this stuff. But like I feel like the Warp Room music for Crash Warped had a very like boy band kind of like uh bopping kind of like uh pop music sound to it that was very reminiscent of the sound that was very rampant in the 90s. So yeah, the Warp Room music is a banger, absolutely. What do I have? I had 101. How much am I spending here? I guess I can check this out. 4 times scope or burst fire. Let's check out the other thing. But yeah, that's my number. That's my number 4. So you can go on to your number 4 now. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. 4 times scope or reload speed. I think reload speed I need with this for sure. Let's go with that. Number 4 is Spyro 2. Wow, awesome pick. Yeah, wow, my God, and like, so yeah, Spyro 2 is a great pick. Spyro 2 is a game where the first game was so atmospheric, and I actually played like I did that article recently of like the first game's like progression system, like analyzing it. And I played through the original Spyro to kind of get my, because I needed a break from Kingdom Come Deliverance, so I played the original Spyro. Original Spyro is very atmospheric, very, the mood is very distinct, and it really, that game is just such a vibe. Whereas Spyro 2 carries that over, but it becomes more alive to me in that you're interacting with more characters. You have your ally characters like Hunter, Laura, the Professor, Zoe. They bring a lot more character to the enemies like Ripto. They build up like the face-offs against Crush and Gulp. But then even just like every level is just filled with little critters that you're talking to, and you're not just collecting items anymore, you're actually doing little missions and little quests for them. That is cool, and that was always such a draw to me when I saw that when Spyro 2 was first announced. And I remember being like, oh my God, like I had such a great time with the first Spyro. The second one, especially when they advertise it and they show him like torching farms and like that cover too. The cover to Spyro 2 just looks so badass. It's probably the most badass cover that they ever came up with, compared to when you compare the first 3 games. But yeah, you said this is probably the best Spyro game on the PS1 for me. I agree. I honestly, and I have to admit, like this is going to be on my list at some point. obviously we're picking 90s, so it's a debate for me between Spyro 1 and 2. I love Spyro 1 for its kind of like classic feel, this classic like very atmospheric. The music is very consistent. Spyro 2's gets a little bit more experimental, but it's a nice blend of what a Spyro sound is with a little bit more character to it. Um, but the second game, there's just something about it that's just like it takes what the first game did and it puts more layers on it, and those layers don't smother what the first game was great. What made the first game great? It kind of just is an extension, and it just feels so like to me. Spyro 2 is just like I probably played that game as a single player game the most out of any game in my lifetime. I think. Um, you say first of all, can I just talk about the music masterpiece? Yes. Um, Admittedly, whenever I listen to Spyro music, I always go to the first game. Whenever I'm listening to it alone, like I love just how much. But you know, Spyro 2, it has so much more. Spyro 2 is just as great. I think of like Zephyr, the homeworld. How, dude, I can fall asleep to Autumn Plains or Summer Forest or Winter Tundra. Honestly, now that I think of it, I might go to sleep tonight to Winter Tundra because right now it's 20 degrees where I live, and that would be an awesome like ambience to kind of just like end the night with. Yeah, it's Zephyr is my favorite track in the game. Yeah, that's usually my go-to too when I Zephyr is good to work out to. Like I run on the treadmill to that song sometimes. Uh, but yeah, Spyro 2 controls a lot better than the first game. Yes, I love how um, I love how his chart like when you charge and you jump, you have more lift now. You can even like kind of do that little like cheat where you kind of like jump and charge, and you get a little height, and you can get to places you normally wouldn't. Uh, Compared to the first game, your lift when you charge and you jump is more. So a lot of times when I'm like chasing things down or whatever, or like I'm just trying to get from one part of the map to the other, I'll do like a charge jump and just hold it down. It becomes like addicting, and becomes very useful when you go up against Bombo. By the way, when he's throwing those bombs at you and you have to chase after him in Scorch, the Scorch level. Is this the game where Sparks shows you the gems? Yes. And I don't think it's something you unlock. It's something that's just there from the beginning. Whereas Spyro 3, it's something it's an ability you unlock through the Sparks levels. In Spyro 2, though, it's kind of a thing that's you don't really know about it unless you like pick up the manual from the physical copy or whatever. It'll tell you that. Because I don't think Zoe the Fairy, as many tutorials as she gives, and how many or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think she tells you that Sparks will point you to gems if you need it. But that's a big game changer. As much as I love to find gems on my own, anything Sparks can do that can help me, anything that any kind of like peripheral character that follows you around can do for you, it's always a plus. I wish Aku Aku would do more than just invincibility. You know, it'd be cool if you would just like, I don't know, do something more. That's something for Crash 5 to think about though. But yeah, I love that ability. Yeah, it's good, and I love too with Spyro 2 is that you are gaining new abilities throughout the game that will become permanent throughout the series. You know, learning to swim, learning to climb, the head bash. Very, it's only 3, but they're very, very, they're like game changers for me, personally. Yeah, great pick, Spyro 2. I can talk about that game forever, and we'll get back into it because I think I'm going to bring it up again because I think it's going to be on my list. Um, we can talk about Spyro in a second, but just to switch it up, yeah, that's four. Great pick. Um, my number, well, it will be. That's your number four. What did I say so far? I'm sorry. Yeah, I said Super Smash Brothers. I said Crash 3. Okay, so my number three would be um Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. 1999 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Um Out of all of the games, it's the most it's
God.
oh
Is
god.
that Haven?
Yeah. What's left of it?
Wow. It's the most rough around the edges Tony Hawk, but it's a game that you can still play, and it's not like playing Crash Bandicoot, what Crash Bandicoot is to the rest of the series. It's a game where you can play it, and it holds up for a PS1 game really well. One of the great... why the first game? Well, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is the only Tony Hawk game that exists in the 90s. Keep that in mind. So it's the only game I can choose, but it's also a great game. Definitely one of the best games on the PlayStation. Not just the PlayStation, but it's on the N64. So yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, one of the best licensed soundtracks of all time. Like, it's only like 10 songs, I think, or 10 or 12 songs, but it's like they all...
Let's get down there.
There's no way you can listen to one... Oh, man, don't tell me I missed that. You can miss a freaking... Damn it. I wonder if I can revert. Restart the checkpoint from 1 minute. Let's see.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. I don't want to miss that.
Is that Haven?
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What's left of it?
let me listen to this thing before it goes away. Hold on.
Lev, where are the boats?
On the docks. Past the fires.
Then we better get down there before they're all gone, right?
Yes.
We're not dying on this island.
I know.
Let's get down there.
But yeah, I'll say Tony Hawk, it's a game that really... There were skateboarding games before Tony Hawk, but Tony Hawk, you have to understand, Tony Hawk, in 1999, Tony Hawk himself landed the 900, which was a crazy move. It was done at the X Games. That's 3 full spins in the air and landing it. And, you know, if you watch that moment on YouTube, you'll understand how Tony Hawk as like as a franchise just exploded. How his popularity rose, how, you know, there's even a documentary you can actually watch on I believe it's HBO called what is it? Until the Wheels Come Off. And it tells you like Tony Hawk's story and everything, like, you know, from when he was a kid. Really great documentary I recommend watching. But it also goes into, like, you know, how the games took off. I think there's even a documentary for just the game's success. But the first game, it really did feel like it was one of the first games that really inspired you to get out of the house and do what you're doing on the game. You know, grab a skateboard, start skating, be terrible at it, but feel like you can be a Superman if you wanted to with this thing. Skateboarding became very popular towards the end of the 90s because of this. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it's a collectathon. It's a lot of skill is involved, but the first Tony Hawk game, they helped introduce you into, and this is not something that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 incorporates all the moves that you learned from the first 4 games and made it into one big remake package. Whereas Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, you're not doing manuals, you're not doing wall plants or whatever. Like you're not doing a lot of like the more complicated stuff that you'll learn later on. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for the PS1 or the N64 is a great game to get your feet wet with, because you're basically learning the basics. You can grind on rails, and you can do air tricks, and that's all you have to worry about. And the game isn't asking you to do it'll be asking you to do high scores, like great crazy combos, but it's not going to be to the extent of like trying to get millions of points in the newer games, because once you learn the later move sets in the later games, it becomes easier to chain your combos better. Whereas because Tony Hawk's Pro Skater the original is so grounded, it's not asking you to go crazy. Like it'll ask you like, get 40,000 points, get 20,000 points. It's skill based, but it's like it's a great way to learn the basics. So if you ever wanted to get into that, I recommend it. I know you had trouble with Tony Hawk when you like the few times that you played it. I know like the level of entry into the game with the skill can be a little bit of a roadblock for people. But the first game's great. It has a great, just a great collectathon, a great like trying to get to that next level feeling. And the levels are rather short too, like to try to go through. But it's such a great game. It's one of those games that I'll go back to every now and then. Definitely inspired me after the remake happened in 2020. It inspired me to get the second game on PS1, which is something I've always avoided because I was like, I played once you get to the PS2 games, like they're so much more refined, but there's a quality to the original game and to the second game on the original console that still holds up and is still one of the great games. So that's my number 3. I'm sorry, my number 3. I'll try and get into Tony Hawk someday. Yeah, I definitely recommend it whenever you can. It's a good game to relax. I actually was playing the remake last night because I just needed a game to relax to listen to a podcast and just like jump around and fly around the city with. So once you get the hang of a lot of the moves, it becomes a joy. Anyway, that's my number 3. What do you got? Number 3, Banjo-Kazooie. This is a game I've never played before, by the way. This is rare, right?
Where do we go?
Oh, the stone bridges.
Okay. Follow my lead.
Yeah, I've never played Banjo-Kazooie. All I know is that you play as a bear character with like a bird attached. I like the idea of it how you can incorporate both the characters to play as, though. Even though you're playing as one single entity. Yeah, one of Rare's best games. Yeah, I wish, hey, maybe now that everything from Xbox is going on to, now that everything is going on to PlayStation, maybe someday I'll actually be able to play Banjo-Kazooie without having a Nintendo. This game is basically Mario 64, but it's done way better. Okay, so they improved on what Mario 64 kind of established. That's cool. Does it have like tank controls similar to how Croc is, though, or are the controls actually like fluent? The soundtrack is absolute joy to listen. Okay, I've never listened to any of Banjo, so I wouldn't know. But I can see it being a very colorful soundtrack, you know, to complement the game itself. I remember when that game was first introduced and it was shown in commercials or whatever. I remember being like, "Wow, a new Nintendo game. That's like, what a cool idea! What a cool concept to be playing as like two different type of mascot characters as one, basically as a team. It's basically country music. Ah, okay." Do I want this? Banjo-Kazooie controls smoothly. Good. That's good to hear. Because, like, I'm thinking of getting, like, whenever the new Croc game comes out, or the Croc, what is it? Not a remake, but a remaster. I'm thinking of getting it, but I'm just, like, I know that they fixed the tank controls, but even then, the game feels very blocky to me. So it's good to hear, though, that with Banjo-Kazooie, that it's more fluent, more smooth.
We found him!
On the left!
Where's my weapon? I like how this guy dropped his flashlight and then turned to... Okay. None of that tank control stuff. Okay, good. That's another reason why I will never like play the original Tomb Raider games, because I just feel like it's too. I think they even kept it for the remasters for them, but it's too blocky and too rigid. The final boss can be a pain though in Banjo-Kazooie. Okay. How would you rank it up against like Crash? Well, Crash Bandicoot's bosses are easy, but maybe like a Spyro boss. Like a hard Spyro boss. Would it be like that, or do you think it's harder than that?
I got them!
It's harder than Spyro. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, but so that's Banjo-Kazooie. That's a good pick. For number 3, right? Is it number 3 or number 2? I forget. But yes, you're number 3. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so for my number 2, I'm gonna cheat. Well, this technically isn't cheating by my own criteria, where I said you can't repeat, like the franchise IP. But I did say, if you listen back a couple episodes, I did say if the genre is wildly different than what the franchise usually is, then I will include it. Oh, look at this guy just coming up at me. And that's Crash Team Racing. I know I said Crash Bandicoot 3, and I have Crash Team Racing, but there's no way you can't ignore the incredible kart game that Crash Team Racing is, while ignoring the incredible platformer that Crash Bandicoot is. You have to, like, I have to include both. That's like my only exception to the rule, for the franchise rule that I have for myself. Absolute masterpiece. You know, it was a game that Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin, they created basically in the attempt to kill the Crash Bandicoot franchise, because they figure, oh yeah, let's just do it like a kart racer with an alien, and it will be like a jumping the shark moment for the series, and they never have to do it. They won't feel bad about selling off the rights to Crash Bandicoot or whatever. But it turned out to be one of the greatest kart racing games ever. One of the best PS1 games ever. I don't even know where to begin with this game. It's in less than a year. In less than a year, too. How the hell does that happen? It's insane. Some games that are like masterpieces that get created like within such a short time frame, and almost like, you know, without artist's intent, almost like accidentally, like they just stumble on greatness. Now, I don't want to sell Crash Team Racing short. They put a lot of work into it, like the reserve system, the power sliding boost, and all that. It's a very deep system that they incorporated. They didn't need to do that. They could have made it another. They could have made it like a Mario Kart clone, where it's just another floaty kart racer, you know. And Mario Kart is good on its own too. But there's something about Crash Team Racing that if it really feels like you're barreling around a corner and you're going at top speeds with that game compared to, say, Mario Kart for me. Oh, this guy. This game didn't need to be as good as it did. No, not at all. And the way it incorporates all, like, most of the key characters from the first 3 games, even bringing back some dig-ups, even for the original roster only having like 20 characters, you're getting dig-ups like Pinstripe and Papu Papu from the first game that were never brought back in the original trilogy. You know, they came back in the spin-off kart racing game. That was awesome. And not only that, but actually make them bosses and give them like dialogue and kind of flesh them out more. I love that. I love the adventure mode. The adventure mode, the battle mode. You know, Twisted Metal being as big as it was back then, the battle mode was just like the extra whipped cream on top for me. But you know, I also, and it even honored Tony Hawk in a way for me, because when you play Super Speedway and you go through those half pipes, and the physics, that's the great thing about Crash Team Racing, the original too, is the physics.
Don't let your guard down.
Why did they cook so hard with this game? Because it's Naughty Dog, and that's why I will always give Naughty Dog the benefit of the doubt. I know they've changed as a company since the Jason Rubin era, but they pull out all the stops, you know, regardless of what the game is, regardless of it, whether it's, you know, to your liking or not. They make whatever game they set to make, they go all out, and they really give it like 1,000%. And that's why I'm looking forward to like games like Intergalactic, you know, or A Last of Us Part 3, because I know that we're going to get quality games regardless. They have given us no reason to think that we're not going to get a quality game, regardless of what happens in the story, but a quality game. The music, the power sliding, the tracks, man, the game stole my heart. So good. But yeah, that would be my number 2, which is hard. It's hard to say. It's hard to just be like, oh man, this is gonna be my number 2. It could easily be my number 1, and so could Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and so could, you know, Crash Warped, like any of these. But yeah, that's my number 2.
I have an idea.
How about you? What's your idea? Ah, number 2 is Crash Bandicoot 2. Okay. One of the, you know, Crash Bandicoot 2 is the first game I've ever played on console. You know, it was between that or Gran Turismo when I got it bundled with my PS1. I remember I was being more excited for Gran Turismo to play because, like I said early, like couple episodes back, I was big into cars. Like I used to collect Matchbox cars and stuff. So Gran Turismo was like, oh, a racing game, I love this. But I remember that Christmas, my cousins were like, you gotta play Crash 2. You gotta. I remember all I knew of Crash Bandicoot was He's just this like orange mascot guy on the TV commercials, and like I guess he's like in the jungle, and it's kind of similar to Donkey Kong Country or something. But I played Crash 2, and I immediately fell in love. Not only is it like the game, what really carries me for that game beyond its platforming is the world building of it, and the way you know Cortex is up to no good, but yet you kind of want to trust him because he's the only voice, he's the only person that's available to listen to. So you kind of get into this like Stockholm syndrome, with him, listening to him saying, "Oh, you know, the crystals are for the better of, you know, the greater good of like of saving the world." Even though you know he's up, you know, like he was speaking to Engine in the first cutscene that it was like, you know, that he was up to no good, but you want to believe him. And then towards the middle of the game, there's actually a story happening where Coco is like feeding you what's actually happening with like little bits of transmission. Then you get Embryo telling you to collect gems, and that will be the thing that will save the world. And he's like against Cortex. I love how the game just pits all the characters against each other in the story. It really made my head spin as a kid, because, and a lot of these games for PS1 did that, because the less story that was being told, the more room for your imagination to know, like, especially when you're playing this as a kid and you have no idea how video games work, and you feel like these are just unlimited worlds that you have the luxury to play. There was a real feeling of like there was something going on behind the scenes constantly. Like, regardless of me being in a level, like Cortex could be out there somewhere. You know, Engine could be out there somewhere beyond their boss fights. Like there was a feeling of like this is a world, and it really just made you think. It's your first platform Crash game. My first platform Crash game I've ever played. Great game to start with. Mine too. I like how it throws you into the middle, like right after Crash 1. So even if you haven't played Crash 1, you're kind of like, what the hell is happening? Like, it really is like an explosion right out of the gate type of intro, where Cortex is falling from the blimp that's exploded, and then he lands in this mysterious cave. And then our hero is just like chilling out in the woods somewhere, and his sister needs a battery. It's like it's a very odd way to start a game, but for me, I was on board. Yeah, I love this game. It has a good challenge. The levels are great. The music is amazing. I really like Crash 2 has a distinct music to it. That's, you know, all the Crash games have any track from any of the Crash games are a Crash Bandicoot's track, but there's something about Crash 2's sound that's very I don't know what it is, but there's like a dark undertone to the music compared to like Warp's more bright and colorful and more techno sounding music that it has, or Crash Bandicoot's more like synthesizer jungle sounds or whatever. There's something about Crash 2 that's just like it's very it's very weird, but very probably the most atmospheric for me. Rocket / Pack Attack is probably one of my favorite songs. Pretty awesome. The bosses aren't the best, that's true, but can be a good time. They're fun, yeah.
Hang on.
I think they do a better job at introducing the bosses in terms of their character more than the bosses actually being a fun fight or like a good fight.
Get ready.
Oh shit. I love the polar bear levels. That was holy shit. Speaking of polar bear levels, this feels like one.
Damn it. Abby. I got it. Sorry.
Fuck it. Nothing is stopping us.
Probably my sister's favorite was the polar bears too.
Abby! Oh, fuck! Raiders!
Burn in hell, you rat!
Oh, I can shoot.
Get away from us! Hang on, we're going through! Shit!
Imagine this scene in the TV show.
Which way to the docks? Up and over the hill. Abby, Raiders! Oh God! Whoa! What? The horse! Forget it. We have to keep moving. Right there! The docks! Okay, we gotta get out of here. Abby, this way.
I kind of... Damn, I didn't know time was so... Time really gets ahead of us. But we've been doing one more pick at each time, I think. But God, you know what? Let's just...
Come on.
I don't want to rob... like, here's the thing. I don't want to rob the cinematic of this while talking over it when we're so late. So we'll call it here. We'll recap next time, and we'll do our number ones, and then we'll get right into our 2000s. But let me just recap what we have here, just to... So to recap, yeah, you know what I mean? It just feels like bad timing to keep going. Where am I? Okay, so for my number 10, it's Twisted Metal 3, Mega Man Legends is my number 9, number 8, Frogger, number 7, Pokemon Yellow, number 6, Metal Gear Solid, number 5 was, what was my number 5? Oh my god. Number 5 was Super Smash Bros. 64, number 4 was Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, number 3 was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and number 2 was Crash Team Racing. And I'll reveal my number 1 next time. But you can probably guess. But yours was, where are we? Your number 10 is Super Mario 64. Try to remind me the ones you listed from 5 to 2, because I might have forgotten since the chat's gone up. Number 10 is Super Mario 64. Number 9 is Tekken 3. Number 8 is Super Smash Bros. 64. Number 7 is Donkey Kong Country 64. Number 6 is Einhander. I believe your number 5 was it Super Mario World? Is that right? Super Mario World. Your number 4 was Spyro 2, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong. Number 5. Okay, so number 4 was Spyro 2. Your number 3 was no, I'm sorry, Banjo-Kazooie. And your number 2 was Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. So next time we'll get into our number 1. We'll do that. Thankfully we didn't have to do the Game of the Year thing. We did that last time. But yeah, okay, we'll continue next time. Okay, so Pelpa Pig, it's been a pleasure. Anyone out there who wants to like, comment, or subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. Other than that, you can stay safe, stay healthy, keep a clear head, and keep on gaming. Oh yeah, you can subscribe to Kev Plays 9490 on YouTube, or follow me on Twitter at Let's Watch Series. Other than that, everyone have a nice night. Peace out.